So we are going to get started. Welcome, this is Pam Bartha, and I am the founder of Live Disease Free and the author of Become a Wellness Champion. And it is such a pleasure for me to meet with you guys this week. This is my very first attempt at Facebook Live, and it is so much fun. At least I get to see your names, and I get to see your comments and some feedback, and I get to see your pictures beside your name. So it's a lot more interactive for me than I do a lot of work online, and so I don't always get to see people as much as this even. So this is cool. So just a recap of what we've done this week, the territory that we've covered. So on Monday, I shared my story of how I have been able to beat multiple sclerosis for the past 26 years. I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. If you can hear me, please do a thumbs up. I don't see any, hi Deanna. So thumbs up if you can hear me, that would be awesome. So on Monday, I shared my story of how I have been able to keep multiple sclerosis in remission for the past 26 years. And doing that without MS drugs, thank you, so you guys can hear me awesome. And also not just without MS drugs, but really fully living my life. I went back to university, I got a science degree, and if any of you have done science degrees, it's many all-nighters. It was just brutal, the amount of work to do. I had another child. I've been active, like I can hike, I can bike, I can ride horses, we go camping, I can do anything, I can run, I can do anything that I want. And it's really from everything that I'm teaching you guys here and how we support people in getting well. I have worked really hard and I have researched like a crazy woman all my life because I really was not going to accept my prognosis, but it really paid off. And I used to be a teacher, a high school math and science teacher. I still coach people on the side in health because that is my passion. But I gave up my teaching career because this is my heart and my passion. We want to bring change as quickly as possible. We want to bring this truth and these messages out to people so that they can enjoy a beautiful life like I have been able to. That was Monday. Tuesday, I shared with you the cause of disease and the cause of multiple sclerosis, and it is infection. And yes, we do know that it is infection. There is tons and tons of evidence. This has been known for 30 years. And finally now in science, it is exploding. I shared with you some research and I have this beautiful replay, and it's a masterclass training. And I go through all of the steps of how I help people overcome multiple sclerosis with the Live Disease Free Academy. But in there, I show you how to do your own research. I share a ton of research with you that verifies and proves what I'm saying. And then on Tuesday this week, we talked about a couple of cutting edge, very, very current articles that were just published and just literally came out like a week ago. So the reason that it's so important to know what the cause is, because then you know where to focus your efforts. Then you know what treatments, what therapies are going to be helpful and which aren't. Hello, Christine. So it's really important to know the cause, because then you're going to be successful, because then you're not going to be so confused, because there's so many different ways we can go at trying to deal with MS. So that was on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we talked about the mindset of a wellness champion. That is so important because as a coach, I've been coaching people for 16 years and I've been a teacher too. So I really see how our mindset keeps us stuck and prevents us from living the life that we want to live. And that's the biggest obstacle that we have as coaches to help people to overcome. Because I can give you the best information, but if you don't apply it, if you don't feel you can, it's not going to help you. So that's really critical. So the first one was my story, then what is the cause of disease and multiple sclerosis, and then the mindset of a wellness champion. And then yesterday we talked about the 4 pillars of wellness. So if you want to review any of this information, I really encourage you to, hello Gina, I would encourage you to go to the replays of these videos so they're all together and just go through them, because I'm taking you through a process that's showing you that yes, you have control over your destiny. Yes, you have a better way to treat your disease and to get your life back, and you do not have to live like this. So it's really important to go through those. So the 4 pillars of wellness, those are basically the 4 pillars that summarize everything that I've done to get well and to stay well for the past 26 years and to help hundreds of other people. Thank you so much for the thumbs up there. Great. So please be interactive with me. You're going to be able to ask your questions today. Before I go to your questions, I would like to share some amazing success stories from the people that are heroes in my life. These are the wellness champions. These people have come down with chronic disease, and just like many of you on the Facebook Live event, they were given no hope, just like I was too. But they did not accept that, and they were searching and searching, and they found me, and we connected, and they decided to work with me and in the Live Disease Free Academy. And some of them didn't have a lot of support at home. Some of them did not have financial, like they were on disability. They found a way. So they had all these big obstacles and reasons to just settle with the disease. And also, it's really hard when you're going to your healthcare professional and they're telling you there's nothing you can do, just stay on these meds. Well, hopefully they'll slow it down a bit, but there's nothing you can do. And then when you try to branch out and you say, is there anything else I can do? I know for myself, and this was, back in 1988, but the neurologist said, no, there's nothing you can do. There's all kinds of snake oil cures out there, but I'm telling you, you will become disabled. So these wellness champions, they did not accept that, just like myself. And so against all odds, they thought, well, there's hope here. Some other people have done it, I can do it too. And they did. And so I'm going to share some stories with you. There's lots of wellness champions. We're building an army of them, which is so cool. And I really hope many of you, I'm sure many of you are going to be wellness champions in time also. So I just wanted to share a couple of stories with you, and I'm just going to grab my page here, my paper, because I'm just going to touch on them. I have a page of wellness champion success stories that I'm going to be, once you opt in or register for the replay of my masterclass, please do that. It's going to be listed in the feed of all the comments. It's also going to be listed above. Hi there, Christine and Adele. It's going to also be listed in the description above this video. And so when you click on that and you register to listen to my masterclass, you're going to be able to be in touch with me later on too. And I'm going to share with you the page so you can actually listen to these people talking. So right now I'm talking, but you're going to actually hear Lisa May and Sarah and Maria and a lot of these people that I'm talking about. And some of them I haven't even had a chance to interview them yet. So it's really cool. They will be put up on that page also in the next little while. But I wanted to share with you just a few successes. So first of all, Graham. Graham is a new grad, just graduated probably about a month and a half ago. We're just starting the new class right now. So he was in the last class. Graham lives in the United Kingdom. And Graham, I know you're sleeping right now, but you'll probably see this tomorrow. And he is such a hero to me because he couldn't attend any of our live Q&A calls. He listened to them. He sent his questions in. We answered them, and he went to work, and he followed all the instructions that we gave him. He had really severe multiple sclerosis to the point where he could hardly walk. When he met me, he was dealing with basically losing his vision and losing his independence. He was going to lose his driver's license. And he said, Pam, what can I do? I'm booked for this driver's test, and I'm going to lose my license and I have to keep it. And I said, well, Graham, I can't make promises, but this is what I would do. So he went to work and he did the test and he passed it, and he shared it on our Facebook group. And it was so exciting. Like on our Facebook group, everybody gets it, right? Because we've all been sick and we've all been through hell and back. And so when we see successes like this, we are just cheering him on. So he kept his license, and he said that was just the icing of the cake because all my other MS symptoms are improving also. And I think that was about 5 weeks in, not even, maybe 4 to 5 weeks. So then after that, he sent us, just a few weeks later, he sent us a video, a little short clip on YouTube in our Facebook group. We have a private wellness champion Facebook group where all these students have been through the process, got their life back, or the new students are going through the process. So then he posted this little this little video of him, you know, those long sticks with a little scoop at the end where you can scoop the ball off of the ground and toss it for your dog. Well, Graham had such terrible tremors that there was no way before that he could ever line it up and grab the ball. but he could that day, and that was the first day. And he said he was awesome. He said he was practicing running on the beach and just improving all the time. So that was the second big update that he gave us. Then the third one, just literally not even 2 weeks ago, like his tremors had been improving so much, but 2 weeks ago he sent me an email and he said he got up in the morning and he turned on, he has electrodes in his head. That's how bad the tremors were, really, really bad. But he turned them on and it actually gave him tremors. He actually had to turn it off. So, and he's been working out in the gym and he's amazing. He believes he's going to be back to work within the next couple of months, which is so exciting. And he has done this without even attending our live calls, just listening to the replays. He is a champion. So I want to also mention Lisa May. Lisa May is a nurse. She actually beat her multiple sclerosis. Actually, she started last fall in September. The class that's starting right now, that's when she started. And she beat her MS in 2 months. She was off her Avonex. She had no more symptoms. She felt like it. She said, I feel better than I've ever felt before in my life. So you're going to hear her talking on the videos on that page. And she is helping to teach our classes now, so which is so cool. She's actually teaching the class. So for those of you that are joining us, she will be your teacher. So you're not just learning from somebody who's beat chronic disease, who's beat MS. You're also learning from a highly trained healthcare professional. So you get the best of both, which is so cool. She actually has her master. She's a very, very smart girl. And she is got a heart of gold. She just says there's just nothing better than getting these successes from all the students. She just went to her, there we go. That was interesting. I just got a phone call. Sorry. So she just went to her neurologist at the beginning of September and her neurologist said, you're normal. Your physical exam is normal, just like you don't have MS. And she just shared that on her Facebook group and she was so excited. The cool thing is her neurologist is actually studying the microbes in children that have multiple sclerosis. So remember I was sharing with you on Tuesday those studies where they're actually looking at the different types of microbes that live in children that have MS and the ones that don't. So this is heavily researched and hopefully within the next few years, we're gonna have some great solutions. It's gonna take time. For those of us that are sick, we don't wanna wait that long. So that is Lisa May and her and Sarah's another one. They both sent in posts onto our Facebook group this summer about how they could handle the heat. They were outside in the high humidity and the high heat, just having fun, not feeling tired, not feeling wasted, just feeling like a normal person. And actually, she said she was out with her nieces and nephews, throwing them around in the haystack, and they were looking at kittens. And she said, I could have never done this before. So that is Lisa May. And then Sarah quickly. Sarah is a great example of somebody who stopped the MS early. She just had it for about a year. And by 2 to 3 months, I think it was 2 months, but say even 3 months, she was symptom free and off her meds. And this spring, she did the MS bike tour. She did 180 kilometers in freezing cold, raining weather. Alberta in the spring can be really, really cold. And she did that, and there's a picture of her, you'll see, with her bike above, holding her bike in the air above her head, just so proud, and her family and friends were just raving about her. So that is Sarah. And then the last one that I just wanted to share with you, and I want to read it because this is huge. This is Dar, and Dar graduated, she would have started in the first class this year. All right, hi Cam. Dar had basically a dead leg when she started, and her writing was so poor, like she was basically confined often to a wheelchair. Mostly she had to have support with walking. She could not even lift her leg 4 inches up off the ground to lift it into the shower. She had to literally have people lift her leg up, bend it, and push it in the car. With writing her name, she could only write very slowly her last name. And so she started with us, I believe it was in February, and she sent this message to me, an email in May. So she shared, Christmas all over again, a 15-hour day, cleaning the house top to bottom to the arrival of a guest. Oh, the joy of reaching down to the floor, from the standing position to pick up a wayward almond, 2 loads of laundry completed, folded, and put away, and a 4-hour trip by myself, including 3 errands, standing for 45 minutes preparing my salad, cleaning out the fridge, 1 hour of research, completing my core strength exercise routine, Kleenex for a runny nose, never crossed my mind. She used to have terrible sinus infections all the time, and she had asthma, and she had MS. A lot of these students I work with, they don't just have MS, they have all kinds of other conditions. So now we're gonna go to May, what it was like for her. Oh, sorry, that's what it was like for her in May. And so she shared, just to get the real sense of the meaning of these activities, we're gonna flip it backwards to February 1st. So this was before she started in the program. So she said, instead of a 15-hour day, follow a 6 to 7 hour day. Apologizing to a guest for not having a spick and span house. For my From my wheelchair, using a long picker-upper, easy reacher, and slowly bending down to grab that stray nut with its claws. Possibly 1 load of laundry washed. We'll dry those duds in the morning, and it'll take me all day to fold them and put them away. Either no trip by myself or having to take a trip for an appointment and using that as my sole activity for the day. Standing 6 to 8 minutes instead of the 45 minutes to prepare my food. Having to go back into the wheelchair to take a break, too tired. Asking a friend to clean out my fridge, too tired, can't do it. Maybe 5 minutes of research, too tired. Exercising out of the question, time for bed, too tired. Call me Rudolph, I fill the trash can with Kleenex, too tired. Christmas in May, these everyday mundane tasks of life are not taken for granted. Dear reader, cry for joy with me as I recall these precious moments. Thank you, Coach Pam. You were sitting on my shoulder the entire day. And when you do go to that page of the Wellness Champions, you'll get to see and listen and watch them. Some of them are videos, some of them are audios. And you'll see that Mona Lynn actually jogged for the first time in her life. She's had MS since she was 17. Maria parked her wheelchair at the end of the program, 90 days. She went into her neurologist's office without the wheelchair, and her neurologist said to her husband, "What have you been doing to her?" And so these are the stories. She actually got to go shopping with her daughter without the wheelchair. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything else here because they're just way, way too important. Oh, Terry Kiley, I just want to quickly mention her. She was in a scooter for 8 years. Her mom died of MS. 5 years later, she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And in 90 days, she was able to come off of 3 MS medications. She was walking again. She was starting to build up her leg muscles by doing squats in the doorway and getting back on her exercise bike. And by the end of the program, she was actually back on her garden. She lives on an acreage and she was mowing the yard, the grass. She took care of the acreage while her husband went away on a business trip. They have horses and dogs, etc. And she can take baths again. So just so you know that it's just, there's so much hope for all of you. That's the cool thing. I think everybody's okay. Tom, maybe check your speed of your internet connection. I think everybody else is all right. Okay, so now to your questions. Actually, before we go to the questions, I just want to, you guys can start typing in your questions, but what I would like you to tell me or to think about is, are you ready? Are you ready to become a wellness champion? Are you ready to take back your life and go to work with us over the next 90 days, and by Christmas, be a different person? You have to do work. It's not a cakewalk, I promise you. But the cool thing is, it is nothing like living with multiple sclerosis for the rest of your life. So if you decide that you want to be a wellness champion, if you can relate to these people and you're just like, I'm a champion, I want to be a champion, I want to be hanging out with these cool people, I want my life back, I want to start walking, like I can't make promises, but this is what they're doing. Some of you are going to be walking again, some of you are going to be back on your bikes. Some of you, like Claire, she was paddleboarding. She had MS since she was 17 years old, and then she just went on a trip with her husband and she sent us pictures of her paddleboarding. So being able to know you're going to be okay, know that you have your life back, know that you're not going to end up in extended care, to be able to come off your medications working with your doctor, to feel like a new person, to have a new zest for life, to be able to play with your grandkids and your children and not be a spectator, to be able to go shopping again, to be able to travel. A lot of us, right? A lot of us are getting up in our ages, like 55 for me this year. And there's going to come a point in time when my husband and I want to do a little bit of traveling. Right now it's to the grandkids mostly, and they are just awesome. But if you are at that place where you're like, Pam, I want that more than anything in my life, then you need to, this is very urgent, you need to listen to the replay of my masterclass, and you need to join us. Our class is starting. This week is our first live Q&A call on Tuesday. So what you need to do is you need to go through that, the replay of my masterclass. Towards the end, I talk about this Live Disease-Free Academy. This is what all the wellness champions have been doing and taking. And from there, you can register and join us. You can, as soon as you register, just so you know, you're in. And you can start tonight. You can start by going through the lessons and starting to work with lesson 1, which is so cool. So, and also I have a contest going on. And what I want to share with you is that people have, one of the questions I ask in the contest. So if you watch the replay, answer those 4 questions. The contest goes till tomorrow. So you still can get your name in, and you'll get in a draw for a 1 hour coaching call with me, and a $100 Amazon card, which you can use towards whatever. Christmas, I hope you use it towards things that'll help you get healthy. So you still can do that. And if you are like, you listen to that replay and you're like, oh my gosh, I do want to do this, but there's just a couple of questions that came up and I really have, and they're burning inside of me. Join us tomorrow for the Coachathon, because we are going to have just you and me, 10 o'clock Pacific in the morning. If you register for my replay of my, thank you for the hearts. If you register for the replay of my training, you are going to be able to get an email with all the information about the Coachathon. And on that Coachathon, it's just gonna be you and myself, and just the people that are kind of on the fence and getting their last few minutes, their questions answered. And I will be answering your questions and really helping you to make the right decision for you. For me, it's important for you to make the right decision for you. All right. So now on to your questions. So there are awesome Adele and Christine. Great. I'm excited for you. And I just wanted to share, we've had a couple of students just register. I didn't even get a chance to see their names. So you can just write, if you're here, you can actually type your name in, that if you've just registered. But we've had some amazing new students, and they're just literally starting today. So a couple of questions that did come in. Number 1, do I take a lot of supplements? I have really streamlined my supplements down because I've learned a lot over the years. I used to have a cupboard full of supplements, and then I would go to functional medicine doctors. Actually, in our day, they're called naturopaths, and they would give me a whole whack of supplements. And so what I've done over the years is I've slimmed it down to just select plant source nutrition. So I have found in coaching people, and this is where I can't give you advice right now because I don't know your situation, but there are a lot of my students that are taking, 5 to 10 to 15 different supplements from, let's say, a functional medicine doctor or a naturopath. And my thing is, I say to them, how long have you been taking them? And they'll say, oh, a year. And I'll say, have they really helped you? Have you noticed a big difference? And they go, no. And then I say, well, maybe you should consider not taking them. But you do want to take plant-sourced nutrition, just basic plant-sourced nutritional supplements. And in the program, we teach you how to read the labels. Everything we teach you in the program is so you don't need us in the future. You're going to know how to read your blood work. You're going to know how to read labels. You're going to know how to manage your microbes to get those bad ones down that are causing the sickness and get the good ones up so you stop disease and you live a long, healthy life. So you're going to learn all these things and much, much more, and that is the key. So my supplements have really, really slimmed down and become a lot more simple. So it's just basic nutrition, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, but it's packaged together and it's just from plants. And that's very, very important. So will this program help with my seizures and migraine? Great question, Bernice. I had a young boy in my program who has a neurological condition and epilepsy. His dad had MS. So they started the program for his dad, Ken. And by the time we finished the program, Jessica said, and you'll know all these people because they're all wellness champions. Once you're part of our group, you'll be able to chat with them. But Jessica said, I have my husband back. But the exciting thing is they applied this program to their entire family, and her son no longer has seizures. This eating plan that we follow is more effective than medications for preventing seizures. So I'm not a doctor and I'm not telling you to stop anything, but what I'm saying is that you're going to see the proof that it's amazing. And sorry, it went up. Oh, migraines. Yes, absolutely. Migraines are produced largely, they're the result largely of dysbiosis in the gut, which are infections. And also these infections can get into the brain, and the pain chemical associated with migraines, they're called prostaglandins. So a lot of times we reach for ibuprofen when in fact we should be treating the infection so that we no longer get the migraines. That is the best thing. Ibuprofen, it's okay if you got in a serious accident and you need a short-term relief. But when we rely on these drugs all the time, they actually suppress our immune system, and they're actually promoting the very infections that are causing our pain. So they are not something that we want to be living on. And Steve, you're ready to start. Awesome. Is this through diet and exercise and nutrition, fixing your gut flora? That is such a good question. Sorry, I didn't get your name. The feed went up higher. No, the problem is that by the time we have disease, the infections are so strong in us that we have to treat the infection. So in the program, what we do is we lay the foundation. We do the eating plan, which is critical. You can't get better without it. We clean up the environment. We make sure that all these different toxins, invisible toxins, we minimize them so we can heal quicker. We take care of nutritional deficiencies. We set the stage for success. Then we start to hammer on those drugs, and you chisel and chisel and chisel away at them. And it'll probably take you 2 to 3 to 4 months, depending on how many years you've had the infections. So in the program, that's why you need so much support. You get twice a week calls with Lisa, and that is critical because you're going to be wanting to make sure you're doing the right thing. And the thing is, you have more than one bug out of balance. So you're not just going to take one magic herb or one magic pill to correct the problem. A lot of us are going to work on different fungal issues, and there may be parasites and bacteria. And so this is where it's so nice twice a week to be like, okay, this is what I've been doing, and I'm starting to feel better. Great, keep doing what you're doing. This is what I've been doing, and I feel terrible. Okay, well, this is what you need to do. Or I'm not feeling anything. And so this is why people move forward so quickly, is that we're helping you to do the right things. And when you have chronic disease, you're going to find that diet, thanks for the thumbs up, diet and exercise are critical, but they're not everything. That's why so many people come to me and they're like, I've been doing paleo for a year and I'm better than I was before, but I'm still sick. I still have the MS. You have to know that there's still food for these bad microbes in things like carrots and peppers, and some of you are having smoothies, which you shouldn't when you have chronic disease. So because when you grind up the fruit, you're pre-digesting the sugar and it makes your blood sugar go up, and they're happy. You fed them for the day. So there's so many little things that we're not doing correctly. And also we have to treat the infection. That's the difference between really living your life and feeling like better than you felt in years versus, oh, I'm better than I was before, but I'm still not well. The big danger of that too is that as we get older, the infections become stronger. When we come into stressful situations, the infections become stronger also. So when a parent dies, when there's a relationship, a breakup, when somebody gets hurt, when there's an accident in the family, the stress of that on our immune system is already overwhelmed with infection. And then we add on that extra straw. It's kind of like breaking the camel's back. So do I cover vitamins? I didn't talk about vitamins yet today, but I do cover that in the program, and it's too much to talk about right now, but you have to get your vitamins and minerals from plants. And just one little quick simple thing, but it's not an end all be all, is when you grab the bottle, and if you look on the back of the label, don't look at the marketing jargon about, yeah, from the farm, whatever. Look on the back, and if it says vitamin C, and if it says ascorbic acid, that is synthetic. And if it says another vitamin, and it has all these big names that you can't pronounce, those are synthetic. If it says vitamin C from Australian bush plum, from the rose hips or something like that, then that is from plants, right? So you should see the vitamin, and then you should see the source behind it, and it should be a plant. And there are tricks, and this is where we go a lot deeper into the program, because a lot of them will actually take a bunch of synthetic and put it in a brew of yeast, and they will hope that it converts it. So they'll list what they put in that's synthetic, but they will say it's plant sourced because they're hoping that the yeast will change it over. And that's not truly plant sourced. Do you recommend, Dominic, do I recommend a probiotic to purchase? I have tried so many probiotics, and when they say to take 2, I'll take 3, 4, 5, 6, because I'm like, I don't notice a difference. I have found the most success with raw sauerkraut, homemade raw sauerkraut. And that's the only time that I've noticed a difference with my health. And most people that have chronic disease can tolerate that really well, even if they have terrible gut issues. But always listen to your body. If you don't tolerate it, you go very, very, very slow. You can buy it in the stores, in the health food stores, but honestly, homemade is so delicious and it's so easy. The raw sauerkraut, it's not cooked, it's not on the supermarket shelf, it's in the fridge. It is loaded with trillions of microbes, and these are the real microbes in nature that have repopulated the digestive tracts of many different groups of people and cultures over many, many years. They are incredibly health promoting. That's what I would suggest, is moving to that. And Patricia, what is it exactly why stress is the biggest enemy of MS? Good question. When we have multiple sclerosis, we're carrying this huge burden of infection in our gut. And most of our immune system is in that area in our gut. Probably about at least 80% of our immune system is around our intestines and in our gut area. So our immune system is overwhelmed with infection by the time we have chronic disease. Our immune system is not dealing with the infection. It causes immune dysfunction. And so what happens is stress, when we're under, and I'm not talking about just a little stress, I'm talking about gut-wrenching, unrelenting stress. So these are the things like where parents die or children get sick or somebody's in an accident. One of my students, her son was hit by a drunk driver the minute or just before she started the program. And luckily she started the program, because she would have, I'm sure, had a relapse, because she lived in the hospital, so stressful. She almost lost her son, that kind of stress. What it does is the stress changes the biochemistry in our body. And I just got a bunch of new research on that I'm putting into the members area of our program. So the nice thing about when you're a wellness champion, you're always up to date on the most current information. So a couple of things. With stress, we have higher cortisol levels, which means that our blood sugar level will be higher. A higher blood sugar level will benefit any infection in our body that thrives on sugars, and a lot of bacteria and fungi. Most of the bugs that make us sick will thrive. And then also higher cortisol levels will suppress our inflammatory immune response. So that's the fighting part of our immune system. So when our immune system is more suppressed, a lot of the MS drugs will suppress our immune system also, but suppressing our immune system, the infection is happy, right? Because you're suppressing the soldiers and the bad guys are happy, and so they will be more promoted. And so and then we don't sleep as well, sleep deprivation, all those things will promote the infection. So there's a lot. Hi, Tyler. He's on also, my son. Yay. How cool is that? So Jay, somewhat overwhelming. And yes, Jane, that's why it is so important to work with somebody who has experience, because what we do in the program is we take it step by step by step. And by the time you're done with us in 90 days, it's like you are your own healthcare professional. You understand all of this. You have the members area for a full year. You can keep going back. So what happens is the wellness champions, they work on themselves, they build their own plan, they really understand this, they put it all into practice. And then once they're well, then they start working on their spouses and their partners and their parents and their children and their grandchildren, sharing information, and all of this is life-changing for families, life-changing. And also, this is the only way we're going to change this vicious cycle of chronic disease, and also really helping people to, like, we're seeing an epidemic of chronic disease in the whole world. And especially in these countries where we have such wonderful healthcare. And it is because we have 4 to 5 generations of overuse of antibiotics, and then our North American diets do not help matters. So Jane, once you are taken by the hand and you're going step by step through this, it is not overwhelming. And it's very, very doable and very easy, and it will change your life for the rest of your life. So Patricia, so grateful for this life-changing information. You're so welcome. Adele, you didn't know that. A couple of other things I wanted to share. You guys can keep posting your questions. I know some of them went up higher. I'm going to see if I can actually get to them. I have a feeling that I probably can't. But a couple of other questions that came in. Which which infections cause multiple sclerosis? So with the research right now, and this is so new, and we're going to see that there's more and more research coming out and helping us to figure out which bugs, but we know that there is like a Clostridium strain that can produce poisons that cause damage to our nerves. We know that there's protozoa, there's mycoplasma, there are lots of the Lyme and the Lyme co-infections. Fungus is a big player. And as I shared on Tuesday, for most of you, it's an interaction of several together. And what they found in Crohn's, and this is the cutting edge research, is that the bacteria actually fuse together with the fungus. So they're all out of balance, they're bad, but they join together, and then they produce this slimy tent, which is called a biofilm. It protects them. So when we take different herbs, when the immune system's trying to get at them, it can't, because they're hiding under this tent. They form communities. So that's part of the program too, and we teach you about that and how you're breaking that up. So the cool thing is that this is not just about ending MS. This is about living your very best life. This is about adding 20 to 30 years of quality life to your life, where you can enjoy your retirement, and you can travel, and you can enjoy your grandkids and your great grandkids, and you can drive, and you can ski, or whatever, paddleboard, whatever sports you like to do. So will this help someone with Graves' disease? Absolutely. Because Graves' disease, that's where your thyroid is involved. And with any autoimmune, it is by these infections. So remember, we talked about how the infections start in the gut. Over time, they move out of the gut. You get leaky gut. They move into like those little lesions that are in our central nervous system. Those are pockets of infection. I can guarantee you they're going to come up with that in the next little while. So they move into our sinuses. Many people have chronic sinus issues. They move into our breasts, for men into the prostate. A lot of people get fingernail and toenail fungus. So, and thyroid and all kinds of other, there's so many different places, and it just depends which bugs you have. So yes, it is definitely will help you for Graves' disease. All of these conditions, autoimmune, cancer, heart disease, the biggest factor involved in all of them is the dysbiosis and silent infections. And we talked lots about those that's meaning you're out of balance. You have too many bad microbes in your gut and not enough good microbes. So Carly, would you say that the paleo style Candida diet with lots of fats is better? So coconut, good meat, organ meat, similar to the Walls, or a low saturated fat Candida style diet? So this is where I know that people that have been following the Atkins diet, that their cholesterol goes down and their heart disease goes down. And if you listen to people like Dr. Perlmutter, he's a huge advocate for grass-fed butter because it's high in omega-3. I personally am always the person that does moderation. I don't like to go overboard on anything. So for me, I have extra virgin coconut oil. I have some butter, some grass-fed butter. I haven't always been able to do grass-fed butter. I do some just regular butter sometimes, but I'm trying to work towards all. I know it's more expensive, but just do what you can. And then I do a lot of extra virgin olive oil. There are so many wonderful oils. If you go into the health food store or even into Costco now, there's sweet almond oil. You just want to make sure that they're processed really well, that they're they're extra virgin, etc. And remember that we're shifting away, Carly. We're no longer talking about candida diets. We are now talking about correcting that microbiome. And the candida diets were not enough, especially for those of us that have chronic disease, because there still was too much food. So yes, higher in animal protein, but moderate. I don't do huge amounts of animal protein. It's moderate. The way we eat is the nutritional ketogenic. So we're having anywhere between 9 servings of vegetables. For me, I kind of measured out like 3 platefuls. It's not like 3 platefuls, but I have it breakfast, dinner, snacks, supper. I have it throughout the day. So lots and lots of vegetables, mostly plant-based. I add in enough protein. Everybody's different. It depends how active you are. It depends if you're a man and you're bodybuilding, etc. So, you know, common sense, and that's what I find is a lot of people, we need to go back to common sense. And that's with this whole disease epidemic too. It's like all of this stuff I'm sharing with you is just common sense. So question, is this, I already got that one. So the exercise and diet, remember we have to treat the gut flora. That's the missing link. Yes, absolutely, Kiki. And that's what people do not have experience in is, how do I manage my microbes? How do I get those bad bugs down? I don't even know what they are. How do I get them down and how do I get the good up? And that is the expertise, that is the strength of the Live Disease Free Academy. Awesome, good one. Carly, you believe in moderation. I am not one that goes overboard on anything. So the last couple of questions I have here are, how many lesions, Pam, did you have? And how often do I do an MRI? Well, when I was diagnosed in 1988, we didn't have MRIs, so I did not have one. I have no idea if I have lesions or if I don't have lesions, and it really doesn't matter. The reason it doesn't matter is because when we help people get well, we see that by correcting the gut, their symptoms go away. We don't focus on those lesions. They're probably not good, and we probably don't want them, but and this is even a brain maker, Dr. Perlmutter talks about that in his book. He shares several different case studies where they've done fecal transplants, where they take the feces or poop from a healthy donor and they give it to someone with MS and they become symptom free. They might have to do it several times, but they become symptom free. So it's correcting the gut microbes. One interesting thing that Dr. Perlmutter also shares, it's not in his book, but it's in an article that I found online. They have pulled together a bunch of research and they're finding these lesions in people that do not have MS. They do not have neurological symptoms. So people that are just average people, they are finding these lesions in people that have Crohn's disease. So they do not have MS. It's not that they have MS and Crohn's, they just have Crohn's disease. So what I think is going to happen in the next couple of years is they're going to go, maybe these lesions are not the end-all be-all for diagnosing MS. Way to go, you guys. You're getting that too. So focus on your gut. Focus on working really hard. And the thing is, diet and exercise, it depends on what your goals are. If you want to live like beyond a normal person, like a really, really healthy, active person, and I really advise you to go that far, because if you don't get yourself out of the danger zone, you have to decrease the infection levels so far that you can handle stresses in life. They're going to come, and then it doesn't take you out. Some of these stresses are so brutal for an average person, you feel wasted after them. But the nice thing is that you might feel wasted, but you just sleep it off, you recover, and you don't have chronic disability. and more disability. So that's the key, is to give yourself some, I call it wiggle room. Get the infection down low enough so that you have room to handle the stresses in life. And I don't want to bombard you. This is Carly. The worst symptom is buzzing, tingling and buzzing. And that is honestly caused by the inflammation from the infections. So you really have to work with somebody to treat the infection. You'll notice that that goes away. So that's a very simple thing. What we notice with students when they start the program, if they're following the basics, the step-by-step, we're starting to notice that some of them, their bladders really start to settle within a week to 2 weeks. They're like, instead of getting up every night, like several times a night, they're getting up maybe once. So that happens pretty quickly. Some people actually notice, I know one of our newer students, he's a huge hero. He's like a machine applying everything so well. His left forearm was so tight when he started, it was pulling his elbow out of joint. In 2.5 weeks of just following the eating plan really well, he hadn't started to kill the enemy yet. His forearm was completely supple. He no longer needed the pain medication and the anti-inflammatories and lots of other symptoms. His bladder, his balance was improving. So that's the things that we notice, is that people start to they sleep better, their bladder starts to improve, they have more stamina, they're happier. And then we start to notice things like balance improving and tingling and numbness going. And then as we're getting on to maybe the 2 to 3 months, that's where we start to notice, if somebody has drop foot, their drop foot is softens. And then all of a sudden they can move their finger or their toes. They can move their ankle. They can walk heel to toe. It's so exciting because people are sharing this all the time. One lady, her hand was clenched like a claw for 40 years. And there's no way I thought that would ever improve, because you would think that's permanent scar tissue to the nerve, right? And she woke up one morning and her hand had released after 40 years. So we don't know how much can be reversed. We know that the body is a miracle. And what's so exciting is that there's a lot that's still in the inflammation stage. And the inflammation stage can be changed. It's when we have the permanent scarring of the myelin sheath, like I had with my eye, with my left eye. Luckily, you guys can't tell, but when I was just 28 years old, I had such a severe optic neuritis. It was like this for 6 weeks. And I didn't have anyone to help me, and I didn't know what to do. So I do have damage to my eye that never improved. So that would be permanent damage to the nerve. But what we're seeing with all of these students that I've shared and many more is that there is so much improvement. And so I can't make promises, but we know what we have to do. We know the disease will stop. We know you're going to have recovery. And my students are always pleasantly surprised with how much recovery they have, as long as they implement, as long as they do what we teach. All right. And this is the honest truth. And the nice thing is, when you join the program, these are all real people, and they chat with you on Facebook, and they're going to be your greatest cheerleaders. When you have a little success and you post it on our Facebook group, you're going to have 20 to 30 comments below cheering you on. So that's so exciting. All right. So do I agree with the MTHFR supplement? So this is a new buzzword in functional medicine, just as mitochondrial dysfunction is too. And I'm not saying there's no merit in it, that there is no merit to this. But what I'm trying to tell you is that my students get better without doing that genetic testing. And so if you did have the genetic testing done and they do say that you should methylate your B vitamins, you can go ahead and do that. It's not going to hurt. But the truth of the matter is that these mitochondrial dysfunction and these gene defects are the result of these infections. And so what happens, we're starting to learn that the bugs, the microbes in your gut, they affect which genes are turned on and which genes are turned off. We know that infections cause mitochondrial dysfunction. So what I've seen, because I've been doing this for 26 years, is that we have bunny trails that we go down. It's like, oh, we're going down here. And it can be very, very expensive, because one clinic that I saw I love what they're saying. They're talking infection is what causes disease, and they've got lots of success. But to work with them, it's $40,000 to $80,000 for maybe 3 months. And you're not guaranteed you're not going to have a relapse, because I don't know that they teach you these principles like we do. So we teach you what you need to do for the rest of your life so you don't end up back in that clinic. So if you have $40,000 to $80,000 and you want to invest in that, you can, and I'm sure you'll get results. But what we're finding is it doesn't take that much money, and it doesn't take that much time and hard work to do. So if you just focus on the infection, your body is a miracle. It is genetically programmed. It knows how to operate. And that's my philosophy. Start there and see how far you can take it. All right. And Carly, another question. So you tried to sign up on my website. I don't know, maybe don't sign up on the website. What you need to do is, there's a link in the feed. Please just register from that link in this Facebook feed. And there is the replay of my masterclass. That way, for sure, you can watch the masterclass. You can register for the program. That's what I would do. So last couple of questions. Cheryl, could stress be causing my hair to fall out? A lot of times that's thyroid issues, and we have a lot of the thyroid hormone is converted in the gut. And so there is an epidemic today of people on thyroid medication. That is the most heavily prescribed medication right now in North America. And that is because of our gut dysbiosis. Everything is stemming from there. It also could be nutritional deficiencies too. That will affect the thyroid. But like I said, as you up the nutrition and you correct the gut, you're going to find, and so maybe get your thyroid checked. The eating plan will not affect, and the stress, it's usually the thyroid. And so Denise, this seems so overwhelming to me. I just can't imagine that I can do it all in 90 days. That's the cool thing. We actually take breaks even in the program. So we do 2 lessons. That means we cover 2 topics. So we'll do like the eating plan, and then we will do your health history, and then we take a week off. You still get support. We're still there to answer your questions, but we're not covering a new topic. Then we do another 2 topics, and then we take a break. So you're getting twice a week support through the whole thing. I have people that are working, people that are doing their master's program. So anyone can do this program. It's definitely easy and doable. It sounds overwhelming, but it is not. So I see that the link for the replay is right there. I promise you, Denise, it is not overwhelming. It is step by step by step. Awesome. So I don't do MRIs. And the neat thing is with my students is that as they get well, they don't have to do MRIs anymore. Terry Kiley, who was in a scooter for 8 years, she took my program a year ago. That would have been in February a year ago. And so 1 year later, this like February or spring, she went for a visit with her neurologist, and she's been off her meds for a whole year. She walked in, she looked good, her skin, she passed all the tests, all the muscle tests. Her doctor said, you look great. You know, just let us know if you ever need us again. So the cool thing is she doesn't have to do MRIs either. And the same thing with Lisa and many of the other students. If something isn't broken, you don't have to fix it. So once your symptoms stop and you're off your meds, you do not need. So I haven't seen a neurologist for many years because you won't need to. So that's the cool, exciting part. So question. So Bernice is asking, yes, I already answered that. Migraines and headaches, absolutely. Because they're all stemming from infections. So this eating plan that we're following, it is huge for migraines as far as it's more effective than any medication. And then you're treating the infection. So the prostaglandins are usually caused by this little chemical called, the migraines are caused by the prostaglandins. And so prostaglandins are produced by these infections. And so when you have no more infections, those chemicals aren't produced and you have no more migraines. And the same thing with seizures. So how many MRI scans? Yes, and then also that's another thing, Kiki. With MRI scans, they're a very strong magnet. So if you don't need them, you don't want to expose your body to them. So the cool thing is when you go through all of this, The program, what it does is it empowers you, and you will be so confident. It's like, I know what I'm doing. I know what I need to do. And I'm taking charge of my health. And you won't be worrying about coming off your meds, working with your doctor, because you'll know what's the best thing for you. Can you tell me when you're gaining a new lesion? My head hurts all the time. And that is from Dominic. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is from a lesion. It might be. It could also be a migraine. There is this huge connection between the gut and the brain. They say that your gut is the second brain. It's linked with things like migraines, with autism, with all of the learning and behavioral disorders. Most of the students I start working with, they are on anti-anxiety and also antidepressants. So these poisons from your gut, they affect your brain in so many different ways. I remember I used to have horrible, horrible headaches, but I don't anymore, and I haven't for many, many years. So you just don't worry about all those things. But the key is, number one, is that you have to start like following the steps with the eating plan. That's the first thing that will give you a lot of symptom relief. But then you've got to start hammering away. And I call it chiseling away because it takes time at the infections. So Lynn says, I've been liquid titrating off your meds for 1.5 years. Awesome. That is so good. And it's good that you're doing it really slowly, because a lot of these different medications, if you go off of them quickly and you work with your doctor and you work with your pharmacist, if you go too quickly, they can really mess you up. So that's awesome. But will these types of meds interfere with getting well and doing away with infections? So what I do is I teach my students to research their medications, and you'll see with all of the adverse effects that yes, they are very toxic to your microbiome. All the meds are. They all have a LD50 rating. This is where we always have to know the risk versus benefit. So if you are in a really crisis situation, you might need a pharmaceutical for very short term, but not for long term. And so yes, meds definitely. If I'm working with students and they're on 10 medications, it's going to be a little bit more work than people that are not on any medications. They're going to usually get better quicker. Is it impossible? No. We find alternatives too. We find things that are not in prescription, but they are more gentle on the body and they're not going to harm you. So there's lots of ways to phase out of things. But yes, you're right. Those drugs, they definitely will slow you down a bit. And also another big thing too is you can't just take herbs and different therapies with your meds, because sometimes they interact with each other, and you always have to check with your doctor and your pharmacist. All right, and I think that's it for the questions. So what I want you guys to do is, if you are ready, if you're just like, oh my gosh, this is just like a dream come true, I want to be a wellness champion, I want to work hard. If that's you, you're a wellness champion just wanting to bust out, then go and listen to the replay. And if you're sold, if it's like, no, I'm doing this, I know. If you go towards the end of the replay, you're going to find out that's when I talk about the program. And so you can just go to it, but go through the steps. Like, you want to know what you're getting and what we're covering. And for those of you that feel overwhelmed, you're going to see it's step 1. This is what we do. Step 2, this is what we do. You can register right on that page. The next thing is that if you're just like, oh, I'm just so ready, but I just need to get these 2 questions answered, join us on the Coachathon. And there I will be able to see everybody's questions. That is for people that is just like, I want to do this. I just have some burning questions. Is this going to work for me? How does this work? So those, just join us and I will help you to figure out if this is what's the best thing for you or not. And I'm sure it will be. But just join us on there. We'll get all your questions answered. And I have some special guests that are going to be attending. Your teacher, like if you decide to join us, you're going to meet Lisa May, and a couple of brand new students that said yes to themselves. So you're going to find out, like, what was it for them that made them say yes to themselves? And they are brand new in the program. So make sure that you join in on the Coachathon tomorrow if you need it. And so with that, remember that our class is starting right now. This is your opportunity to change your life this year. So I just really want to thank you for spending this time with me. It has been a blast. You are going to see me on Facebook Live with this Wellness Champion page that we have, because it's just way too much fun. And it's such a great way for me to get this information to you. So with that, hope to see you in the program. I hope this information has blessed you as much as it has blessed me giving it to you. And I know that you have a bright future. Take care and bye-bye.